right? So let's take a look. So to really, in the interest of time, I'm going to explain to you what the problem is, and then I'll let you guys take 1 minute to think about it, and then I'll just take a very simple survey about what you think the answer will be. So there are 3 parts of the question, which I'll explain. I only need a survey on part A, which is the easy part. For part B and part C, I'm going to give you the answer and walk them through. Okay. All right, so this will be the setup for the question. So we're going to recall the detail for insertion sort. We know that the very first insertion is the cheapest, and the last insertion will be the most expensive. So the costs are increasing. Symmetrically, for selection sort, the selections are decreasing. All right, so based on this is what we want to do. Why don't we say we take the best out of the 2 sorting algorithm to say, since the cost for insertions is actually increasing, and since the cost for selections are decreasing. So the idea would be, why don't we try to do insertions while it is still reasonably low? And we try to do selection while it is becoming reasonably, like relatively cheaper, right? So we're going to do maybe the first half insertion only, and do the second half selection only. That's basically what you guys were wondering, right? Just want to make sure. So that's kind of the intuition, all right? So here's the idea. We want to have a new sorting algorithm, which somehow is going to combine insertion sort and selection sort together. Let's say we assume there is an even number of elements in the array. So n divided by 2 can give you a whole number. Okay? So let's say we're going to perform insertion sort for the very first half of the input array. And then we're going to perform selection sort for the second half of the array. The idea would be, again, we want to get insertions done while it is cheap. And we want to get selections done while it's decreasingly expensive, right? That's the idea. All right, and then the question over here is like this. So we got 3 parts of the question. What I presented over here is part A. Yes or no? Will this new algorithm perform better than the original selection or insertion sort n squared? Will it perform better? That's part A. All right. Part B, justify your answer. Part C, which is also very important, which I didn't think about originally, but one of your fellow students in the morning session reminded me. Okay, part C. So part B is to justify your answer, whether it's a yes or no. And part C, does this new algorithm always work for any arbitrary array? Or there should be certain organization of the element that we should really assume to make it work, right? That's part C, which is slightly more challenging. But we'll worry about part A and part B first. Any assumption on the input structure. And while you're thinking about it, I want to make a little more annotation for you to really see what the problem is. So let's say we start with the array with n unsorted elements. And then we want to somehow to go from 0 sorted element all the way to half sorted elements, right? So for this part here, we're going to do insertions. So we're going to do about n divided by 2, half insertions. And then eventually we want to grow the sorted area from n divided by 2 all the way to n, the other half. That part over there we want to do for selections. Overall, we'll still have n steps. It's just the first n divided by 2 step, we're going to do insertion. The second half, we do selection, right? You got to be very clear what we are asking over here, because there's no code here, right? Guys, take 1 minute to think about your answer. You can even think about B and C. Okay. Yeah, give you guys enough time, and then I'll go over the answer. Okay, another 30 seconds. Okay, just one more moment, and then I'll do a simple survey. Already. Okay, so for those of you who think the new algorithm combining insertion and selection will perform better, I mean asymptotically better than n squared, raise your hand. Oh, you guys are equally good. It's morning. Good. Okay, nobody thought it's going to be better, right? Okay, what about worse? Anybody think that's going to be worse? I meant maybe it will be n squared log n or maybe n cubed. Nobody think that's worse? So I guess all of you think that's going to be equally the same, right? The performance. Okay? I think you guys got part A right. All right, that's good. So part A is, will this algorithm perform better? No. It will end up being still n squared somehow. But part B and part C are the more important parts to get right. First of all, no. Still n squared. And part B, how do we justify? Part B is not too bad as long as you know the progression of the cost for the insertion. We know that for both insertion sort and selection sort, the selection or the insertion themselves are going to dominate the running time for all the lower terms. So let's only consider selections and insertions to figure out the running time. So let's say for this part over here, about the insertion, right? We're going to figure out this one here. The first insertion will be the cheapest, just 1. And then 2, all the way to the last insertion is going to be roughly about half size of the array, right? We'll only do that, okay? And divided by 2. On the other hand, for selection sort, for the other half, the first selection is going to be the most expensive one. We're going to select basically the minimum from the half of the array that's unsorted still. So that one there is going to be, the first selection will be n divided by 2 plus n divided by 2 minus 1 plus all the way to 1. Both of them are arithmetic sequences, right? Let's now take a look. And you can think about this one here is the first insertion. And this will be the last insertion. And this one here will be the first selection. And this will be the last selection, right? And then let's now sum them up very quickly, right? It's a arithmetic sequence. It's going to be something divided by 2. The beginning term plus the end term. 1 plus n divided by 2 times, how many terms do we have? N divided by 2, right? And this will be enough to show, so you can see n times n will be n squared. Everything else is just lower or multiplicative constant. They can be dropped. So we can conclude that this is big O of n squared for the first n divided by 2 steps. And this one here, the insertion part will be something very similar. Okay, I'll just write it down. So, except that the common difference over here is actually minus 1 as opposed to plus 1, right? So this one here also, it will be something divided by 2. The beginning term is n divided by 2 plus the end term plus 1, right? Multiplied by, how many terms do we have? From n divided by 2 down all the way down to 1. Also n divided by 2, right? Just half. All right, similarly, you can see n multiplied by n, highest term. Everything else can be dropped. Big O of n squared. So if we try to sum them up together, big O of n squared plus n squared, and this will be the insertion, this will be selection. We'll still get n squared. Okay, does not improve, also does not make it worse, just the same. Which means you can feel free to modify the code I gave to you and do it like this way. Doesn't really matter. Okay, it just be the same. Some variants to mention to you very quickly, you can also think about. Okay, and then I'll talk about part C. So here we are basically talking about just divide the steps into half and half. Would it work? For example, let's say I do the first half steps as selection and do the second half step as insertion. One variant. Second variance. Let's say rather than saying I'll do n divided by 2, about half of insertion and half selection, what about this? I would say I will do about 2/3 of insertion, and I will do about 1/3 of selection. Would it improve? Right? So these are the variants you want to work out mathematically. It should be quite straightforward to show. Right? Remember those variants and then give it a try. All right, guys, part C. All right. Let me dive directly into the conclusion, right, to save time. But you got to think about it. It turns out this sorting algorithm will work only if the input satisfies certain structural constraint, which is kind of interesting to observe. All right. I'll give you some example. Let's say if you have the array let me give you one example that's not going to work. Okay, let's say here we got 2, 1, 7, 3, 4, 0. I know that halfway is about here. Right? Over here. So what's going to be the outcome after the first 3? So we're going to do 3 steps for insertion. Right? What's going to be after the first 3 steps of insertion? This part of the array will be sorted, which will be 1, 2, 7. Agree? Okay. So I'm just going to do that, and then after the insertions, which will be 3 of them. That one there is going to give me, let's say, 1, 2, 7. That part is sorted, and then 3, 4, 0 remain the same. Okay? That's a halfway. So you can think about we started with completely unsorted, and then we got this part sorted, and this part still unsorted. Now, if we try to complete the rest by selection sort, are we going to get something that's really sorted overall? You guys already can see, right? Okay, let's now complete it. And that one there, if I try another 3 selections, think about what's going to happen. I'm going to choose the minimum from here, which is going to be 0. And then I'm going to append it to the end. That's going to be 1, 2, 7, 0. Oops, not good. It's not sorted. All right? So what's going to happen is we're going to get something like this. I still got 1, 2, 7 over here. And this part here, the first minimum will be 0, and then 3, and then 4. So 0, 3, and 4. And this will be what we claim is sorted in the hybrid sorting algorithm. Apparently, the result over here is not sorted because 1, 2, 7, 0, 3, 4, apparently it's not. All right? So this algorithm doesn't work all the time. I just show you one witness that it doesn't work all the time. Can anybody somehow sense what kind of structure, if I can say that that structure is satisfied for the array, then this hybrid algorithm can work? I'm going to show you the formal way, very precise, but can anybody give us an intuitive idea? What kind of input array structure is going to guarantee this hybrid method here is going to work? Go ahead.
So the smaller elements are in the first half and the bigger elements are in the second half.
Okay, pretty good. I think that's already on a very good track. So the kind of the smaller elements are on the first half and the bigger element on the second half. Okay, one example up here. That's pretty good. But we want to make it formal. Okay. I will give you one example here. You guys can check it out. The working input over here is going to be, for example, I got 2, 0, 1, and also I got 4, 7, 3. For example, right? So if you think about it, this particular half and this particular half, oh, let me be a little bit better. This is the first half, this is the second half. Every element in the first half is less than or equal to every element in the second half. This kind of structure can guarantee this hybrid algorithm will work. If you can guarantee that it's a precondition, then this will work. No problem. All right, I will let you convince yourself why this is going to work, right? I'll let you do that. But now, how can we formulate this condition here? That's what I would expect you to write in the part C. How do we formulate that? I just don't want just description. I want something that's mathematical. All right, 1019, practical logic, universal quantification. All right, let's now write it down. I'll write it down, and you guys think about it. And I'm just going to write it here. So let's say this is, I'll put a star here. This is the precondition. Precondition means it is something that the algorithm can assume to be true in order for that to work. All right? I'm going to use a single quantification, universal. I need two loop counters, I and j. The idea will be if I visualize the array as something like this, cut it into half. Let's say the first half and also the second half. If I randomly pick one element from here of index I, pick one element here from index j, I and j here, so it's guaranteed any element from here should be less than or equal to any element from here. That's what I want to express. How do we do that in math? Very simply. Right? I'm going to specify the range for I and j. I should be in this particular first half, and j should be in this half. So I'm going to say here, 0 less than or equal to I, less than n divided by 2. Again, we assume n is an even number, just to make it a bit easier. Or we can take a floor or ceiling, whatever. And also n divided by 2 less than or equal to j, less than n. Input array, let's say the array is called input. I should be less than or equal to input of j. All right, so that's the assumption we have to make for part C in order for this hybrid algorithm to work. Right, so there are three parts for this particular problem here. I can see there's not a single line of code that we have to consider. But we already have covered quite many kind of interesting stuff for some variance to the or combination of two existing sorting algorithms. All right, any question about this one? Yeah.
So, like for the logic, can we take, for example, like a middle value as a reference element, and then develop the logic that all the elements?
When you talk about meta variable, why don't you show me what you really meant after class? We'll take a look. And then if I can share with the class next time, I'll share. That might be a little bit easier. Okay. All right, final call. Any question about this? This will be something the style you can kind of expect from the final exam. We don't necessarily just ask you to trace the code or just ask you something very straightforward. You got to think, right? Yeah.
The j, how it's like greater than or equal to n over 2 and less than n. Because aren't we starting from a new array? Aren't we starting from a new array with j?
So we're basically saying, given any array as the input. So we want to make sure there's certain structure that should be satisfied.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was like two arrays.
Oh, okay. So we only got one array, by the way. We don't create any new array, right, for the sorting. We always work on the same array. We want to make sure even before we start sorting using this new algorithm, the input array must be something like this. Yeah, it must be something like this. All right, guys, think about it. And then if I can come up with more or inspire more by you guys about new problems, I will share. All right? Oh, Ben, you're here. Okay, makes sense, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. I think it benefits everybody. That's good.